impeachment is on as we speak.
There are indications that the Rivers State House of Assembly may be considering a lifeline for Governor Fubara and his deputy amid the looming impeachment threat. This follows appeals by some lawmakers urging their colleagues to reconsider the move in the interest of peace. They say the shift in position was influenced by interventions from concerned political stakeholders.
We are here this morning to appeal to the conscience of our fellow colleagues, having listened to so many pleas, calls from our elders and leaders, both within and outside the state, begging for leniency. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the Constitution.
We are human beings, and we as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in River State, outside River State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconsider, to please reconsider, provided the governor too has a role to play. He too must make sure he doesn't infringe furthermore on the Constitution.
Let's talk to senior correspondent Uche Okoro, who's live in Port Harcourt. Uche, two lawmakers there now appealing to their colleagues to withdraw the impeachment notice. Can you shed light on what political calculations or pressures might be driving this sudden shift among the lawmakers?
Honestly, I've been following the development since it broke up till now, and I would say that not many things take me by surprise in River State as far as the politics is concerned, but that of today, I didn't see that coming at all. Okay, I definitely didn't see this coming. I want to believe that before these lawmakers would come out to take this position, I strongly believe that they may be speaking the mind of the entire River State House of Assembly, but it still remains in the realm of speculation. In not very long from now, we expect the Assembly to reconvene, to resume from the adjournment and resume plenary. Maybe at that resumed sitting, the House might respond to this. So it remains to be seen how the totality of the House would respond to this. Remember that the impeachment, the notice of allegations of gross misconduct was signed unanimously by all 26 members. 26 signed that of that for the governor, which was read by the leader, Major Jack. 26 also signed that for the deputy governor, which was read by the deputy.
Well, we're having troubles keeping Uche on the call. The two lawmakers in the earlier report we showed you mentioned interventions by concerned political stakeholders influencing this shift. The big question is, who are these stakeholders? How significant is their influence in the River State politics and the River State Assembly's decision-making process? And there are also conversations as to whether or not Mr. President has waded in, as we've seen how the stakeholders in Rivers have also called for another intervention by President Tinubu. I think it was the Ijaw National Congress as well as the Ijaw Youth Congress who did call on President Tinubu to intervene. We're following that story very closely and we'll bring you up to speed as soon as we have more updates. Let's return now to River State, where we're following closely developments with two out of the 26 lawmakers who signed the impeachment notice asking their colleagues to change their minds. Uche Okoro is standing by. Uche, if the Assembly decides to extend an olive branch, as these two lawmakers are saying, rather than pursue impeachment, what does this mean for Governor Fubara's administration, the ongoing governance in the state, especially in terms of public perception and political stability?
Well, that would mean a breath of fresh air for the Governor Fubara administration, because you know that the budget is the central revolving point of this crisis in Rivers State. If the Assembly decides to backtrack, decides to take a step forward, sheath its swords, and lower its the barrel of the rifle that has been pointed at the executive, what that means is that there will be little or nothing stopping Governor Fubara from going ahead with the 2026 appropriation bill, which we expect the House to also approve, so that governance can resume at its full capacity. Remember that I said this came to me as quite a surprise, because as over the weekend into very early this morning, the latest position from the Rivers State House Assembly, as marshaled out by the House Committee Chairman on for Information, was that those who have been indicted should make attempts and should begin to make preparations to defend themselves. That was just over the weekend, and then this is coming barely 24 hours after the House took that official position in a press statement. So, well, I think we all will wait till when the House reconvenes. We do not know if, by virtue of what these two lawmakers, one representing the PDP, that is Honorable Silvanus Wankwo of the PDP, who is now the minority leader, and the other lawmaker representing Degema, Peter Abe, is still of the PDP. So you have one lawmaker of the PDP, one lawmaker of the APC, both coming out to take this position. I think we will all wait, hold our breaths, and see what the House will say, the position it will take. Will it heed the plea of these lawmakers when they resume a plenary on their agenda?
You know, like the last time when both parties were throwing verbal abuses at each other, we haven't heard much from the governor. Does this move to de-escalate signal a permanent resolution of the impeachment threat, or you think it's a temporary pause? How likely is it that the issue could resurface later, and under what circumstances?
I don't know why I'm amused by your question, but I'll remind you that when the state of emergency was called off, we saw the FCT minister and the governor of Rivers State begin to attend events, begin to almost give side hugs, handshakes, seeing each other off to their cars and saying, giving smiley-faced goodbyes. I asked the question to many of the stakeholders. One question I would always ask to the stakeholders in the state during interviews is this peace, is it a smoke screen, or we should take this to the bank as the fact that lasting peace has come? Isn't this a smoke screen? And everyone from both sides were confident that this is the final attempt at peace, and that this peace is going to last. And it is barely 6 months and we are back here. So if you ask me if this, the calling off of the impeachment process is the tone of finality that we need to the political process in Rivers, Nifemi, I will tell you, I do not know. I cannot say that. It is with cautious optimism that Rivers people will welcome whatever move that the Assembly takes, especially if they decide, to withdraw the notices sent to the Brick House. Now, recall that before the suspension of the state of emergency and the return of Governor Fubara, we've had about 2-3 attempts at peace brokered by Mr. President. So all that have collapsed. So this time around, we do not know. It is, like I said, we'll hold our breaths and wait to see if the Assembly will, backtrack. But then again, if they do, a lot of this depends on what next steps the governor takes and how the Assembly would respond to it. So I'll leave it there.
Well, I guess time will tell whether this is the end of the reverse political drama or this suspense is leading us to yet a new chapter. Uche Okoro live for us in Port Harcourt.